السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى لقاء يوم الدين. Inshallah, I reward all of you for your presence tonight in this majlis. Recite another salawat and gift it to Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this great opportunity and tawfiq. Once again, we're together, inshallah. As you know, we are those who know. We have a lot of new faces, alhamdulillah, tonight. We're following the new course that we started together under the theme of self-improvement through spiritual awareness. So we talked about, alhamdulillah, in a few sessions, different aspects and components of improvement. We mentioned one of the first important aspects and factor towards self-improvement is self-awareness, that you be aware of yourself. Remember, in this dunya we have a mission. We can live in this dunya neglectful, not knowing exactly what you're supposed to do. If you ask someone in a secular world, what is success, what is improvement, they go with the physical aspect of this dunya. We mentioned this, the more money, the bigger house, the better car, they call it success. But in reality, in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, success is something else. Success is working in this dunya the way that He wants you to work, and building a good dunya, and of course a good akhirah as well through this dunya. I'm going to very quickly review some of the aspects that we talked about, so those who were not here, inshallah, understand the whole topic, and then of course those who were here just get a gist of that, exactly what we're going to go, and then inshallah tonight's lesson as well. We mentioned for the self-awareness, to be aware of ourselves, you have to do take certain steps. The first step is that you be aware and awake. You understand what you're doing. What are you doing in this dunya? What is the purpose that you are in this dunya? Where are you heading to? We mentioned that if you want to take any improvement in this aspect, to be a better person, a different person, you need to be awake. You need to be aware. Some people in this dunya, they're so involved with this dunya, they forget about the other aspects beside the physical aspects of this dunya. The whole purpose of them living in this dunya is to make more money, financial aspects, taking care of their children, a better marriage as well, and that's it. Nothing beyond this. They are lost, they are neglectful. The first aspect that we mentioned is yaqظة. As you see here, it's a little bit, small, for above 60s, they're a little bit difficult to catch it. But if I zoom in, you will see better. Because we have a lot, I don't want to go through this because we're just reviewing. Inshallah, when we get to the point that the lesson of tonight, inshallah, I will make sure I'll make it bigger. So yaqظة is the first aspect that you have to be aware and awake yourself. The second aspect is that tafakkur and tadabbur. You start thinking about yourself. What am I doing in this dunya? What am I supposed to do in this dunya? Am I doing enough? Do I have to change my lifestyle? Let me ask you a question. How many times you have seen some people that are struggling with the same mistakes for years and years? How many times you see someone who is arrogant? Years and years he or she is arrogant. Jealousy, years and years jealousy. Marital problem and issues, years and years issues are there. And when we're going to think about these problems and fix them? If it's about anything financially, we don't let it go to the next day or next month. We have to fix it. We go talk to someone, how about this, what about this one? But when it comes to our own deficiencies and problems, we don't even think about it. So the second aspect here is that thinking and pondering upon this aspect. We talked about this. The third, now that you thought, now that you want to do something, you have to make that promise, decision, azm. You have to make that promise and decision that, all right, I'm going and I want to become a different person. I want to have self-improvement. I want to improve myself. And it comes to that decision that you have to make. The fourth one, as you see here, is musharata, which is the promise and the shart that you make with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From now, I want to make it, inshallah, towards the lesson that we're going to talk about tonight. Promising Allah, we said at the beginning of each day, the best time is before and after Salat, Fajr Salat, that you, after you thought about yourself, what you want to do throughout the whole day, promise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that what are your projects for today? How are you going to improve yourself? All those deficiencies, problems, anger problems, problem with tongue, with eyes, with issues, with anything, any issues that you find with yourself, you're going to promise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the beginning of the day that I'm going to be aware of myself. I'm going to get away from those problems and deficiencies. Alright. And then after that, we mentioned that once you promise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these are all the steps towards this self-awareness and improvement. After you promise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sharat and musharata, you're supposed to what? Watch yourself. Make sure you're not doing anything wrong. Make sure throughout the whole day you said, Ya Allah, that haram that I got forbidden, used to it, I'm not going to do it today. I'm going to control myself today. I'm going to lower my gaze today. I'm going to have better patience today, right? You promised, now you have to watch out. You have to make sure that all these promises that you made with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can't. I can promise you Allah, myself, I'm going to finish this book this week or this month. But I have to stay with that promise, right? Muraqabah would help this. That once you made that decision, you promised, throughout the whole time, you should watch yourself and follow that promise that you made with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We talked about this hadith from Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Just telling Abu Dharr, Ya Abu Dharr, worship Allah the way that, as if you can see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Worship Him this way. He's in front of you. If Allah was in front of you, how would you react? And if you cannot see Him, know that He is seeing you. There's no difference. He is seeing you. You have to be watchful. Alright, so we talk about muraqabah. Now my question to you, those who are the first time here, we say is an open dialogue. We talk to each other and then with each other about this topic. What do you think are these steps? Now that you thought about this, you made your promise with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. Now what do you think it's required to make sure what you did was good or not? Let me ask you this question. As businessmen and women, how often do you review your financial progress? How often would you do that?
Depends, sometimes quarterly or...
Quarterly? Okay. What else? Is there anyone who would do it, shorter than quarterly? Weekly. Very good. Students, how often the teachers will make sure, they themselves make sure that they're doing a good job? What they learned, they really actually learned or not? How often would they do it? Daily. Very good. And also, every single test they have, they want to make sure, can they pass what they were supposed to learn? Right? They look, they watch it, they make sure they kept the promise to them. The principals of the school, if you go to them, they might have a person who makes trouble and says, okay, sign here, this contract, that you're not going to make any trouble anymore, but they watch them, make sure they're progressing or not, right? What we need here, at the beginning of each day, I promise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm going to watch myself and my amal and my action today. Now I need what? Now I need muhasabah. Now I need self-reflection. Now I need to know, did I do a good job or not? At the beginning of day, I promised that I'm going to do this. But could I do it? Was I successful or not? How often, here's my question to you. How often do you have self-reflection? How often do you watch yourself, considering that inshallah you have some promises with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How often do you think about yourself? Did I do a good job here or not? And we're talking about all these deficiencies that we might find within ourselves. How often would you do that? How often do you have time to do it?
Not really.
Not really. Is there anyone who said daily I have self-reflection? Beautiful. No one, mashallah. Very good. Wonderful. How many of you guys, you weekly have this time with yourself to sit down and have self-reflection to understand what did you do this week? Anybody? MashaAllah. Some people will do it. What was the last time that you checked your Instagram? So seriously. WhatsApp? What was the last time you checked your WhatsApp?
during the majlis.
During the majlis. What was the last time you checked your Facebook? No, honestly, give me some ideas. Don't worry about it, we're all together, same. Last time you checked your Facebook? An hour ago. Very good. I know, I'm definitely sure some people, break your record here.
Someone's still doing it.
Someone is still doing it, What was the last time you checked with yourself with the doctor, physically? Did anyone do today?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. What was the last time you checked Quran?
Every day, second day.
Beside the majlis here, please. Don't take the credit here, we need it here. What was the last time I sat down with myself, trying to focus? My husband keeps complaining about these aspects of my behavior. Now this time, before I blame him for that, let me think about myself. I have to make a balance. On the other side, On the other side, what was the last time that I sat down and I said, okay, are my family, they are satisfied with me or not? It's usually someone else's fault. It's not my fault. But what was the last time I really sat down and I started thinking about maybe that's my fault? What was the last time I sat down and thought maybe I have these problems and issues? Maybe no one is telling me. What was the worst deficiencies and problems of kings at that time that we had? Still we have some as well, a lot. But those time, kingdomships. So what was the worst problem they had? What was that? No one was telling them what was wrong with them. Everyone is, Your Majesty, everything is great, mashallah. With you, perfect. One of the kings, I forgot his name, I think it was Nasruddin Shah or someone. A guy came to him, he drove something, a flower. A guy came to him and he asked him, how is it? How's my post? Not really good. He said, mashallah, it's amazing. It's even better than the actual flower. Someone else came and started smelling it. It even smelled better than the actual flower. They keep getting, okay, you're doing good, you're perfect. Then they believed in it. No one came to tell them, hey, that was wrong. You shouldn't do that. If I live with that kingdom, like kingdom style and king style, I will never understand my problems and my issues, right? But muhasabah will take care of it. Imam Qadim alayhi salatu wassalam, look what he said. To show the importance of this topic, he is not one of us, not even Muslim, the one who doesn't have daily self-reflection. So if he or she did good, they will add into that goodness that they had. And if they did anything wrong, they repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they ask for forgiveness. He's not even one of us. He's not even part of us, the one who doesn't think about it. How come when you go to work, the whole day you start solving the problem for someone else? The IT guys, how many IT we have here? Raise your hand. MashaAllah. The whole day you start solving problems for, or any other jobs. Whatever jobs you have. The whole day you're trying to help another company, another person become improved and progressed. How about yourself? When is the time you're going to think about yourself, spend time for yourself to figure out how you want to improve yourself, right? That's why if during the day you don't have it, how can you even call yourself Muslim? Okay, the last step was what? Mushawarata and muraqabah. You promise Allah at the beginning of the day. Throughout the day, you watch yourself. Now at the end of the day, you are in the mood of muraqabah. You watch yourself get away from haram and everything. Now at the end of the day, it's the time for what? Muhasabah. Say it again. Self-reflection. Before I go to bed, I have to start thinking about myself. I promise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the beginning of the day. And throughout the day, I try to do it. But how was it? If I don't have it, and then I go to sleep and don't understand what I achieved throughout the whole day, then what's going to happen to the next day? What's happening to the next day? Imagine a business, a company, never had those quarterly or yearly financial analysis that they have to have. They don't even know what they're projecting for next year, what they're supposed to achieve next year, right? We have to check ourselves. If you acted upon, the decision that you made and the promise that you made with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's great. Did I betray myself today? Did I broke the promise or not? How many years it has been that I can't control my anger, that I yell at home, at my family? I cannot give you enough examples, too many examples that they have. Currently, children, they are married, they have issues with their own family because of how their parents treated them when they were children. I have many clients that they have deep depression, issues, anxiety, OCD, problems, mental issues because of how the parents treated them when they were young. And as a parent, I don't think that I'm doing wrong. As a parent, I don't think that I'm ruining the whole generation after me, right? I think my grandparents did the same, and I'm supposed to do the same thing, right? Not knowing that now my children, they have issue because of what? Because of me. Most probably because I didn't have that self-reflection. I didn't think about maybe I'm hurting someone, I'm doing. What was the last, many people come to me, they have issue with their relatives. Back in the country over there, he stole a land from me, my sibling, my cousin did this and that. Okay, what was the last time you sat down and you thought maybe it's your fault? Why is it always someone else's fault? When we don't get a good score, whose fault is that? The teachers, right? When we are kicked out of the job, whose fault is that? The supervisor and colleagues. They keep coming to me and people tell me. But when is the last time should I sit down and say, maybe that was my fault. I was supposed to do something. If you were successful, alhamdulillah, I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this great tawfiq that I had, that I could be successful, right? I'll get a good score, alhamdulillah, that's great. And of course, I will try to keep doing this until I enjoy that process of acting for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once you do, you're doing for the sake of Allah. You keep doing it and doing it. Many people come to me and says, or to many scholars, why don't we enjoy the salah? Why don't we enjoy the ibadat, recitation of Quran? It's a burden. It's an obligation you have to do it. We don't feel it. You actually did good. The actual amal is great. There are some other issues, some other layers in front of you, and that action would not let you enjoy it. If you want to look at yourself in the mirror is there, and you're here. If there's no layers and hijab, you can watch yourself, and it will reflect and you see yourself in the mirror, right? But if there's some layers in front of it, a dust or curtain or something, there's nothing wrong with the mirror. The amal is okay. You are having some hijab between you and amal that doesn't work. Allah in Quran says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We know all this, we hear it a lot. Traditions we have as well. One of the most important results of a salat, Inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. The salat should help you to get away from any corruptions, any sins, any issues. This is the result of the actual praying, right? So if it's not acting this way for me, something is wrong with me, all those layers that I put in front of it. And shaitan comes and always make it very difficult. This process would somehow distract you in this way. Believe me, if you promise from tonight that you want to have this self-reflection, he will come stronger, would not let you, somehow would distract you. With financial topics, physical health, social media. I have to tell you, that was a new experience I had. I had a youth last weekend here. Literally, every single 5 minutes, he had to sit down and work with his phone. People were playing outside basketball, youth. If the ball was somewhere else, thrown on the other side, and someone was going to go get the ball and come back, he was going and playing with his phone. I'm talking about 30 seconds. 30 seconds, he had to go check his phone, play, and then come back. Wallahi, that was the first experience that I had this sickness and this addiction. I've never seen. A lot of, people I've seen that come to my office, they have addiction with the devices, but this one was new. Like literally, he came here, literally, for 30 seconds, if the ball was not there, he had to go play with this one, and as he was looking, okay. Of course, he's not enjoying playing with that 30 seconds, but this addiction is there too. Believe me, when I check, the parents are the same. The father is the same. I don't think about this. I think, because of my job, because of my work, because of someone else, because of this and that, I have to check. What is the first thing that you do when you wake up, honestly? How many of you guys, you have your phone next to you? Raise your hand, please. Don't be shy, please. Ahsan, all of us.
Literally everyone.
Literally all of us, right? If you don't sleep next to the loved ones, you sleep next to the phone for sure.
Sleep in between.
It's in between. That's so important. I can get away from it. What would you do? The first thing that you wake up, what would you check? What do you check?
Turn off the alarm.
Before you look at the face of your husband or your wife, how are you doing, baby? I want to make sure it's alive. It's all charged. Throughout the day, how many times you check your phone, just the face of phone, without doing anything? Just want to make sure that this is still alive. We can't even count it. I do it the same sometimes. Imagine as much as we're so attached. Don't look at the physical aspects of I look at it. Look at the mental, unconscious process. You don't see that part. You don't see that it comes to your mind. Your brain would order your whole body to react and to look and to watch it and then process it back. What you see, is that okay or not? You don't see behind the scene what's going on. The whole mind should be occupied with the whole thing. This action, be able to do it. When you drive, you don't think about, I have to slam the brake right now, or I have to accelerate right now. It's a process, you do it. Unconsciously you do it, right? You don't see behind the scene process. But you're calculating all the time. Within a half a second you have to react to this, right? When I do these things, when we all do these things, imagine how much this mind should be occupied to keep doing it, Of course, when I keep my mind so busy with other things that are not that important, I don't have enough time for other important things. And if you were not successful in the whole process of muhasabah, then I have to repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and promise Him that I will make it up next day. If I don't do this, I'll miss it. This important part that how about tomorrow? Then tomorrow I'm going to yell at my wife again. Tomorrow I'm going to be impatient when it comes to my husband as well. Tomorrow I'm going to be the same with my children as well. Tomorrow I'm going to disrespect my parents as well. Because I don't know my deficiencies. I didn't think about it. I didn't have this self-reflection. I didn't have time with myself. And I keep saying this. This is one of the plagues of this century, that you're not supposed to have time for yourself. No. You're supposed to be only the receiver. You're not supposed to produce anything. Receiver means what? Just look at it. Just receive. You're not supposed to think about anything. You're not supposed to have enough time. Why? In the secular word, ibadah and worship has no place. Because when you pray, you're supposed to think. 1 hour thinking is better than 70 hours of ibadah without knowing what you're doing, right? It's about what? It's self-reflection. Ibadah, the whole salat is self-reflection. This is self-reflection is a main component of self-awareness, which is a component of self-improvement. If I want to see I'm improving since I got married, am I a different person? Did I improve? Did I take care of my patients? All those problems and deficiencies I had when I was single, did I get rid of them? Some people come to me and say, Sayyid, before I got married, I was actually having a better ibadah and worship. I was closer to God. Now that I'm married, I'm away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We thought marriage is the sacred things to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So that's all about knowing these things, understanding the things, and what? As a return, fixing our deficiencies. And keep doing the same process until you become a master in this step and have control over your desires. Don't give up. What would you do? In Salah, this is a question all of us we ask this question. What can we do to keep focusing on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our salah? Give me some ideas. What should we do?
Control your thoughts.
Control your thoughts. Ahsan. How can I control my thoughts? This is our promise. You know, when you answer, you have to stay with it and explain it. How would you do it?
So pay attention to the meaning of the words you're reciting.
You mean I pay attention? Alhamdulillah means thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Bismillah means in the name of Allah. You mean pay attention to the meaning? Because it's not our first language, I mean mother language, so I have to translate it for myself.
I mean, it's a reflection of your good prayers to Allah, right? Every time you think about it, you come up with something else.
Okay.
Beware that you're being watched by Allah all the time.
Know that we're watched by Allah.
What should be honorable to yourself?
Okay. Nice technique. What else? I know that all of you guys, you did something so far. I hope so.
So, what I think is like the challenge. Like, I mean, we said a lot of things like, hey, focus on Allah, know He's there, but like a lot of times, like it's very abstract and we can't think about that. So, like, at least something I do is like just either breathe before or like calm your body down, because right now how we go into slot, it's like a race car. Like you're coming in, you're getting your tires changed, and you're moving out. I mean, that's the reality, right? Like it's sometimes a 3-minute process. So
Good.
you know, just take some prep time before the slot.
Very good. Actually, very good. Yeah. What else?
Try to understand whatever you're reciting in your own language, what the translation is.
In your own language. The same thing that you said. So you have to translate it for yourself.
I mean, for the simple.
Then when are you supposed to think about Allah then?
It's the same
If
thing.
you're translating it, when are you supposed to think about what you're doing?
All the recitation is for Allah. So if I'm saying Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, I'm not thinking of anybody else, I'm just thinking for Allah. So rather than
So are you translating it or you're paying attention to what you're doing?
both ways.
What else?
When I go for,
So you're in the presence of God, right? So everything that you're saying, you should actually feel it.
How would you feel it? I love the way that you said
Yeah.
feel it, but how?
Yeah, but feeling that you kind of apply to yourself. That I'm standing in front of God and I'm saying, God, you're great.
Ahsan.
So you should mean it with your entire soul and entire body.
Very good, very good. Someone wanted to say something?
very close to same, you know, when I go, I feel that am I ready to face Almighty, my Khalik, that am I in a position to face Him? Because He is the one we are trying to communicate through Salat. It's a direct communication
Very
with
good.
our
Very
Khalik.
good. Ahsan, ahsan. Sister over there.
Imagine that Holy Kaaba is in front of you, or imagine you're praying behind someone back. I think there's also a hadith that says if you do adhan, there's one row of angels that pray behind you. If you do adhan and ikama, I think there's at least 2 rows of angels behind you.
Okay.
So you're the leader of the jama'ah.
Good. Good. Sister, good.
Pray as if it's your last prayer.
Ahsan. 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 You know what I got from all these answers? The topic of tonight. What is it? Say it again. No. Self-awareness. All of you guys talking about be aware of what you're doing. If you want to be aware of what you're doing, you have to be aware of yourself. Everything we talked about is that I know that I have to spend some time standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The whole process. How many times a day? Salat is the least, the least important thing that I do during the day. I'm at work, something is very important, probably 2 minutes. I have to pray quickly because I have to go back to work. Right? The least important thing sometimes during the day is the time that I spend with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then what do you expect? If you pay the least attention to your wife, to your husband, what will happen in that relationship? Tell me. And not alone, right? Of course, they will complain. What kind of relation is that? When you talk to me, you keep looking somewhere else. I keep hearing from my clients. When you talk to me, you keep, working with your phone or computer or something. I can't. You're not paying attention. This is not a quality time. If you want to spend a quality time with someone that you're in love with, you have to pay full attention to that person. You have to be aware of your surrounding, your distractions and everything, right? In this relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if I want to have a good quality time with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the same way, in a different, perspective, I need to be aware of myself. Distractions, deficiencies, problems, issues. That line that I'm used to this is a layer between me and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That anger between me and Allah is a hijab, right? All those deficiencies, last time in the street that I couldn't control my eyes, that's a hijab in front of me and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Any of those little things, what Allah says, get away from sins and haram, because each of them are the hijab between you and Allah. This is awareness. And all those techniques that you said works as well. Imam Ali salatu wasalam says, that's why inshallah, this is a step that we have to pay attention. We have to pay attention is that now that the whole process, you see that I be awake, yaqadha, and I have to thinking and pondering upon what I'm supposed to do. And then it goes to azm and decision, and go to musharata, that I promise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I'm going at the beginning of the day what I'm going to do. Muraqabah, I keep watch myself throughout the whole day. Be aware of yourself. I finish with this. If doctors told you that you should not eat this food and this food and this food, what would you do? You keep watching yourself not to eat them. If it says you have to eat your medicine 12 o'clock sharp, what would you do? You keep being aware of that. If you can't think it, mentally, you make sure you set an alarm to make sure you don't miss it, right? So this is about the whole mentality that I'm supposed to be aware of the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in my life. And of course, the last step that we talked about, muhasabah, hadith from Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa said, hasabu qabla an tuhasabu. One day, all of us, some other people will sit down in this type of majalis and says, mashallah, that marhum, they were very nice people, inshallah they would say that. Very nice people, yeah. But me and you, all the way in the ground. No one is there to help us. Nothing. Rasulullah said, have self-reflection. Make sure you analyze what you're doing before it's too late. Someone else at the day of judgment going to calculate it for you. When you have a test, you have 5-10 minutes at the end to review it. What is it? Always the teacher says review, make sure you did everything correct. If not, now it's in the hands of the teacher, there's no time to correct it. Someone else is going to calculate it for you. And there's no time to fix. Can you give it back to me? I will fix this. No, time's up. Quran says, some people at the day of judgment says, Ya Allah, we made a mistake. Please, you know what? If you go back to dunya, wallahi, swear to you, we're going to fix everything. You know what Allah says? Quran says, shut your mouth. We're not going to send you down. You had enough chances. If you want, we can review the whole movie and the whole film that we recorded from your life to see how many chances we gave you. Remember last time you went to the funeral of someone, to the service of someone? Remember you said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Remember you said Fatiha, you forgot to say Fatiha for yourself. You forgot to see that and to understand that next time it might be your turn. You forgot. You went home, the same person. Bismillah. The same person, the same day, the same problem, the same deficiencies. Because any of these funerals didn't help you to awaken, to be awake and understand that might be my turn. That's the thing Allah says. It might be hasibu qabla tuhasabu. You have self-reflection. Analyze your amal. Wallahi, wallahi, wallahi. 3 times. The life is shorter than whatever you expect. You can't imagine you're sitting here. You can't imagine you're at this age right now. It's going to be as quick as that. Inshallah, you all live 120 years, but it's going to be very quickly. That's it. No more time. Therefore, until I have time, inshallah, I have to pay attention to other things, which is my self-improvement, my family, my children, my generation. So inshallah, I will have that better understanding and have more self-reflection. The whole aspects of this you can find in the Quran in front of you. When each day, inshallah, we recite 1 page of Quran, 2 pages of 1 juz of Quran, whatever we do, we keep thinking and pondering upon this. So inshallah, we have better understanding of the recommendations of Allah, inshallah.